Today's video is brought to you by ablmerch.com. Get your I Survived the Pandemic hats, t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, and quite a few more products through the link in the description box below. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a doctor, a Chinese doctor no less, operating over here in the U.S., saying the quiet part out loud about the vaccine. I did a video a few days ago talking about the vaccine passport and how they want to control you with this. Well, she has confirmed my fear. Now, before I go any further, let's go ahead and roll the clip. In this clip, you're going to see this doctor on CNN with Chris Cuomo talking about the vaccine, the reopening, and a few more things. After we get done watching that, I'll talk about what she said. Then I'll give you my 2 cents, my deep, detailed analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Do you believe that race is, the variables are, and what the messaging should be?
My main concern is that we're not going to reach herd immunity because of vaccine hesitancy. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to believe who desperately want the vaccine right now. And they're thinking, oh, well, it's just a small percentage of people who are actually anti-vaxxers. And that's true. There is the anti-science, anti-vaxxer contingent. But I think that there are many more people, millions of people who, for whatever reason, have concerns about the vaccine, who just don't know what's in it for them. And we need to make it clear to them that the vaccine is the ticket back to pre-pandemic life. And the window to do that is really narrowing. I mean, you were mentioning, Chris, about how all these states are reopening. They're reopening at 100%. And we have a very narrow window to tie reopening policy to vaccination status. Because otherwise, if everything is reopened, then what's the carrot going to be? How are we going to incentivize people to actually get the vaccine? So that's why I think the CDC and the Biden administration needs to come out a lot bolder and say, if you're vaccinated, you can do all these things. Here are all these freedoms that you have, because otherwise people are going to go out and enjoy these freedoms anyway. And I fear a situation of coming into the fall where we never reach herd immunity, and then we get hit by the next surge of COVID-19 in the fall, something that we could have prevented if we just got people vaccinated now.
Thank you, Dr. Alina Nguyen. Appreciate it.
All right, you saw that, you heard that. Now, that was pretty straightforward. They don't want to reopen. They don't want to have that whole thing happen because they want to force you to get the vaccine first. All right. And if everything is reopened, then how are they going to force you to get the vaccine? What's the point? You could pretty much go do whatever you want to do. You can go to a football game, basketball game. You can go back to work, back to school without having to get the vaccine, without being required to get the vaccine. So we need to not let things get open. We need to have the government intervene here, shut things down, keep things off limits to those that don't have the vaccine. Okay, she said a very key thing there. We want to tie reopening to vaccination status. Okay, so that is going to be the vaccine passport that says, hey, you got to have that in order to get back to your normal everyday life. Okay, but that's just not right, because first of all, I should be able to go to my job and work without having to get a vaccine if I don't want it. The vaccine does have side effects. Depending upon which one you get, there are side effects that could happen. I'm not saying everybody's going to get the side effects of the vaccine. Like the one man in Virginia out there in Goochland County, which is like right by Richmond, his skin started to peel off. His legs looking crazy. I'm talking about he's white, but his legs looking like they were red. Looking like Hellboy, looking like the devil. I'm talking about straight red. And yes, that's a rare reaction. No, that will not be the common occurrence for everyone that gets the vaccine. But maybe I don't want to take that risk. Some allegedly may have even died from getting the vaccine. Again, rare occurrences, but maybe I don't want to take that risk. Honestly, if you're in shape, you're not elderly, it's rare to catch a virus and die from it or have any really serious symptoms. What they say, like 80% of those that have gotten the virus and got intubated, like, they put them on a ventilator or they died, 80% of them were overweight or obese. And probably the majority of that 80% were elderly. Okay, when you're talking about deaths from the virus, the overwhelming majority of them are 65, 70, 80, right around that age. They're elderly people. Kids don't really get the virus. If they do, there's like no symptoms really. It's rare that they have any kind of serious problems. And if they do have any problems, it's because they're way overweight. If you're 16 years old and 300 pounds, you might be at risk. We know what the risks are. We know what we can do to mitigate some of these things. So why not just let us do that rather than being required to take the vaccine? Okay, one thing about the vaccine, people are kind of scared about this virus. I think the media have done a very good job of being able to scare people. So people are rushing out there to get that virus vaccine if they really want it. So why would you have to force me to get this vaccine? A thing that was rushed out very quickly. You know, I understand people may want it. It may work for some people. I get it. I understand. But maybe y'all don't want that. Just maybe. Now, this doctor, to go back to her right quick, she was at one point, I think, the president of Planned Parenthood, I think from 2013 to 2019. And if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments below. But you have a Chinese doctor. She's been here for quite a while. She's been about 8, 9 years old, been in America for quite a while, grew up in LA, but Chinese. Okay, so my thing is, if you were the head of Planned Parenthood, you're from China originally, are you going back to China, talking to anybody over there, talking to anybody in high levels of government? Surely they've reached out to you. Surely they've done that. So is there any kind of communication that way? Should we trust whatever she says? The Planned Parenthood thing alone should be enough to be like, okay, wait a minute, let's pause for the cause right here. Why are we listening to this lady that was the president of Planned Parenthood about health? Okay, now if she was the president, CEO, whatever of Planned Parenthood for almost a decade, would she refer to Planned Parenthood as healthcare when we know that it's not healthcare? She's a doctor, right? Listen to all the professionals, right? But if she was to call Planned Parenthood healthcare, then that's simply not the case. Oh, abortion is only 1% of what we do, please. Stop it. They say, oh, we offer a bunch of services and abortion is just like, 3% of our services. Well, if abortion is like 3% of your services, it is not representing the majority of your services or the income. Well, go ahead and drop it. What's the problem? It's just one service, right? You still get 97% of your services. It's because it's not 3% of their services. It is the majority of what they do. It's their key thing. It's their key draw. It's their biggest moneymaker by far. That's just the reality. Okay. Then they're selling these stem cells, the fetal tissue, all that kind of stuff. It's a whole racket upon killing babies. But yet you have a doctor that's over there in charge of it, trying to tell me, trying to tell you, trying to tell everybody else that it's healthcare. It's not healthcare. So if you have that kind of stance when it comes to Planned Parenthood and abortion, maybe I don't really trust your stance when it comes to the virus and the vaccine. Just maybe. And maybe I don't like you, quote unquote, dangling the carrot in front of my face of, hey, if you get the vaccine, you can go back to work, you can go back to school, life will be back to normal. And then do you even trust that? Do you even trust it? Because they said from the beginning, 15 days to flatten the curve, to slow the spread. That's what they said from the beginning. Then they said, oh, don't wear a mask. There's no need to wear a mask. Anthony Fauci said that on TV back in March of last year, just over 12 months ago. Don't wear a mask because it might block a droplet or two, but it won't really be this quote unquote perfect protection you think it is. It make you feel better because it's kind of a safety blanket, all this and that, but it's not really going to help you. That's what they said. It's not really going to be a big help. Now, all of a sudden, oh, you got to wear 2 masks because 1 mask ain't enough. Double up, wear 2 masks. I saw this lady gasping for air because she presumably had at least 1 big, gigantic mask on, covering her nose and her mouth. It's like, all right, lady, obviously you're having a hard time breathing. Take the mask off.
But I do think that we should follow their request and their recommendation for masking.
All right. You're trying to prevent from catching the virus. Meanwhile, that won't even help you in that end and that goal. At the same time, the virus is not the only thing that can kill you. If you can't breathe oxygen, that might kill you as well. Take your mask off, lady, but I digress. The whole point is that people are scared about this virus. They want to get the vaccine. If they want to do that, let them do it on their own. But these so-called professionals and doctors, they'll tell you anything. They'll tell you don't wear a mask, do wear a mask, stay at home, don't stay at home, indoor dining, outdoor dining. You can dine outdoor as long as it's still indoors at the same time. How much sense that make? They got outdoor dining, but it's still indoors because they got all kind of coverings and gates and cellophane and everything else. This whole thing is ridiculous. Florida is pretty much open. Aside from some small business, it's pretty much open. California is not. Yet Florida and California have virtually the same types of virus infection rates. If not, Florida's doing better. So what's the point of doing the shutdown? What's the point in trying to keep things shut down right now? It's because there is an ulterior motive. And according to what the doctor, quote unquote doctor, said, they want to get you to take the vaccine. It's the carrot they dangling in front of you. Now, are you a horse? Are you a sheep or something like that? Can they just dangle food in front of you and say, okay, take the little carrot? And I refuse to do that. I'm not an animal. I'm a human being. Treat me as such. And I'm going to conduct myself as such, regardless of how you treat me. I'm not going to let you and your actions dictate how I operate in my walking everyday life. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? Do you think that it's the right thing to do to keep things shut down until everybody gets the vaccine to get back to normal life? If that's your viewpoint, let me know why in the comments below. Or is it a bad thing to do? Should we not just say, all right, you got to get the vaccine? Should we just let people do what they want to do? If you want to get the vaccine, then hats off to you. Go for it. Knock yourself out. Not literally, of course, but go ahead and go for it. Me, I'm good. I'll pass. That's just not what I want to do. But we all have choices, right? We live in a free country still, right? I think we do at least. Hopefully we don't go down the communist China route where the government dictates to you every step of your walking regular life. Hopefully we don't go down that road. Hopefully we still have freedom in this country. And if we don't have freedom, that's going to be a big problem. That's going to cause a lot of conflict. And I don't think we want that over here in the good old US of A. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.